I think one of the things many of our students here would like to know about is what are the admissions requirements for your institution?
Hello. Okay. So short response. With the transfer requirements at Texas Tech, it's a three-step process. So the first is going to be applying on Apply Texas or Common App, and then we do have a $75 application fee or a fee waiver. Me personally, I always push events. I have an event July 10th here at ACC Highland. I'm waiving application fees. So there's things like that, and some other universities might do things like that as well, just to save money because money. And then also with your transcripts, we do require official transcripts from every college you have attended. So it does have to come directly from that institution as well. Some of our majors do have additional requirements outside of the general 12 to 23 hours with a 2.5 or over 24 hours with a 2.25. So if you're looking at programs like engineering, business, interior design, things like that, those might have different GPA requirements for that automatic admission.
So at the University of Texas at Dallas, we have an assured admission option. There's a couple of them, and then we just have our regular admission. So with that, truly, you don't have to shoot for assured admission unless you truly want to. The main assured admission option that a lot of students will go for will be to have 42 transferable credit hours, but less than 90, and then to have a 3.0 GPA and to be in good academic standing with the current institution that you are attending. So if you're not at those 42 credit hours, that is perfectly fine. You can still apply as long as you have at least 15. If you have less than 15 credit hours that are transferable, then we're going to need to look at your high school transcript as well. But if you have 15 or more, you're good to go. Apply through Apply Texas. We are not on Common App yet, but coming soon. So we have Apply Texas for our application process, and all you need is your application and your official transcripts from every institution that you have attended, and that is it. It is up to you if you want to submit letters of recommendation, resume, all that other good stuff, all optional. But it's a very holistic process. We're really quick. We're really quick about turnaround time and all that good stuff. But the admission process is pretty seamless. You can come in for summer, spring, or fall. I would say shoot for the spring or fall for scholarship opportunities. We don't really give out much money during the summer, and there's just more opportunities for the fall and the spring.
So at St. Edward's, when you're applying to our university or applying to the university, not just a specific major, so generally in terms of transferring, we look for a minimum GPA of a 2.5. And if you've completed less than 30 credit hours of college level coursework, we'll need to take a look at your high school transcript. But otherwise, if you have more than 30 hours of college level coursework, we'll just take a look at your courses that were completed, at all of your universities that you've attended. That 2.5 GPA is cumulative, so it'll just be based on all of the colleges, universities that you've attended. We'll need to have those official transcripts on file. That process is a little bit different for our nursing program. So if there's any students who are interested in our nursing program, reach out. That's kind of my wheelhouse. But yeah, and then in terms of like the application process, we are on Common App. We're also on Apply Texas, and we also have our own website, St. Edward's. So we'll just need those transcripts, your application, and then a minimum 500-word essay. But yeah.
For Texas State, most transfer students shoot for at least 15 credit hours before transferring, because if you have less than 15 transferable credit hours, we will need to look at your high school transcript as well to make our decision. But once you reach between 15 and 29 transferable credit hours, you need a 2.5 GPA cumulative between all of the colleges or universities you've previously attended. So if it's only been ACC, we just need your ACC transcript. Once you reach 30 or more credit hours, so like if you're getting your associate's degree, you'll have about 60 credit hours. We'll need a 2.25. There are some programs that require a higher GPA for the program. This is just for admission to Texas State. So make sure to get with me or another admissions counselor to see what program you're interested in and if they have additional requirements. Again, kind of like Texas Tech, we're a 3-step process. Submit your application on Apply Texas or the Common App. We should have one for the fall open on our website, the TXST application, hopefully soon. So submit your application, submit your official transcripts from any college or university you've previously attended, and then pay your application fee or qualify for a fee waiver through FAFSA. And that's all we need.
Southwestern is a four-step process. So you would submit your application and essay on Apply Texas or the Common App. Both are free to apply to Southwestern. You would send us official college transcripts from every place you've received college credit. We also need a final high school transcript. We're not looking at it for grades or acceptance. We just need it in general. And then a college conduct report, which is just a report basically stating, are you in good standing at your community college, junior college, other university, and then you'll give that to your dean of students to fill out, and they'll send that over our way. Those four things get you an admission decision. As far as GPA goes, 2.5 on 12 or more hours to be transferable into Southwestern. But if you are a member of the ACC Honors Program, I think you have to have a 3.25 to be in the ACC Honors Program. You get automatic admission to Southwestern if you are a member of that. And then we also offer admission and scholarships for students that are a part of Phi Theta Kappa or National Society of Collegiate Scholars as well. So super easy process. And I'm always here to talk about any of the obstacles or issues or anything that you need.
Yeah, for our admissions requirements, it starts off with having 24 transferable credit hours. In the case that you may be short of those 24 transferable credit hours, that's where we'll ask for your spring grades. That's where the deadline to submit that would be June 1st. But if you're going to meet those 24 credit hours, you're all in the clear. However, to start this whole application process, we'll need your application, either through Apply Texas, Common App, whichever one you have a preference to use. From there, we'll require your application fee to be paid, either with a fee waiver or on your own accord. With those fee waivers, it could be either through our admissions website. We do have one link there for y'all to use to waive that application fee. From there, we'll also require an essay, a transfer resume, and then any college transcripts from any of the institutions you may have attended. If you're also considering automatic transfer admissions, that's where we'll also require your high school transcripts to be eligible for that. We also have that information online. But if you wanted to talk about automatic transfer admissions with me, I would feel free to do so. But from there, decisions are typically released June 30th for fall, and then December 15th for spring semester.
Thank you very much. What I heard there, y'all, is that some schools have essays that you need to complete, and some of y'all did attend an essay writing workshop presentation earlier today in one of the breakout rooms, but not everybody did. So I do want to take a minute to plug that. Transfer Services has essay writing workshops in every semester. This summer, we're going to have several in-person workshops, not just the presentation online. So you have options. Take a look at our website to find out when those are. Hopefully you can join us just in case you need some more assistance with that. I also heard a little bit about some free money here and there. So let's jump into that money. So how much is tuition and what resources are available to help students pay for college?
Okay, so for Texas Tech University, if you are looking at our main campus, for a full year, it's about $11,852. That includes if you're about 30 credit hours for a full year. For in-state students, if you're an out-of-state student, international student, it's going to be double that. But if you get at least $1,000 scholarship or higher from Texas Tech, you'll qualify for in-state regardless. And then as far as our scholarships that we offer directly within our application, we do have two university merit scholarships for transfer students. So if you have at least 30 hours, you have a 3.0 GPA, we'll offer a $3,000 presidential merit scholarship. If you have at least 60 hours with a 3.5, it's going to be $4,000. And then you can use that for 3 years at Texas Tech, and it is stackable with other degree level scholarships and external scholarships as well. And then financial aid, we do have a program called Red Ready Guarantee. So if you are a transfer student, you're looking to start in the fall and it has to be a fall semester. If your adjusted gross income shows 80,000 or less, your tuition is covered by Texas Tech. So any additional scholarships you can pay to help pay for that tuition as well.
So at the University of Texas at Dallas, we have a plethora of options for our students to be able to get their college paid for. Of course, be sure that you're filling out the FAFSA or TASFA. Our tuition is $14,000 for the entire year for a domestic student. It's about double that for an international student. But with that, our tuition is capped. So it's about $7,000 per semester, meaning that if you take more than the allotted full time, which for us is going to be the 12 credit hours, if you take more than that a semester, anything above that is a free class. So if you want to play the system, be an overachiever a bit, you can take more than 4 classes a semester, and anything past 4 classes will be free at UTD. So that's a really great plug to put in there because a lot of institutions sometimes do increase your tuition based off of the credit hours you're taking. Here at UTD, we will not. But as far as paying for everything, like I said, FAFSA and TASFA are very important. A lot of our scholarships are tied to those as well. We do have some merit scholarships for our transfer students. We have our common transfer program that is going to be based off of your GPA. There's 3 levels to it, which will determine what you're going to get, and then it is renewable each year. We have our transfer academic achievement scholarship, which is an additional $1,000 scholarship that's only for the fall students applying, and that will be based off your GPA as well, depending on what you're going to get. We do have the Phi Theta Kappa, so if you are part of PTK, as long as you can approve your membership in PTK, you will be offered that scholarship as well. If you're full-time, I believe it is $1,000. If you're part-time, it's $500. We have our Comet Scholars Program, which is an additional $5,000 scholarship that you can receive every year that you are here at UTD, or at UTD, I'm about to say ACC, at UTD, which is wonderful. And so everything is also stackable. So everything that I'm listing is stackable on top of your FAFSA. Also, if you are a student that has a financial income of $100,000 or less, you can take part in the Comet Promise program, which is full tuition coverage here at UTD. You just have to make sure that you apply by the deadlines. And if you guys want to talk to me more about that, I can show you where everything is on the website. But that is a wonderful program to be a part of. If you know that your family income is $100,000 or less, a full tuition coverage. That is a promise. But there's a lot of other stuff as well when it comes to scholarships, depending on the program that you're part of. Let's say you're doing computer science, then you could actually go to the School of Eric Johnson School of Engineering and Computer Science and see the list of scholarships they have there. So for every major, there's a list of scholarships underneath that school that you can apply to as well. And then there's a scholarship listing page that we have that's consistently updated. So there's a lot of money here. 61% of our students graduate with no student debt here at UTD. So we have money to offer.
Yeah, so St. Edward's, we recognize that we are a private university. So if you do look it up, you're like, oh no, private school, I can't afford it. We do want to emphasize that like 89% of our students do qualify for some form of like a scholarship or aid. So they don't end up paying the full sticker price that you might see online. The average cost of tuition that transfer students pay between like merit and like grant consideration is about $11,000 per semester. So we're not completely out of reach, but that's also because we have the opportunity to offer a lot of good like merit scholarships for consideration that you'll be automatically considered for during your application review process. So transfer students are considered for up to $20,000 in merit scholarships if you have at least a 3.0, and those can be renewed annually for up to 3 years of study. We also have other scholarships in terms of like affinity scholarships. So we have a PTK scholarship as well, which is stackable. We have an ACC affinity scholarship as part of our Accomplish at St. Edward's partnership. So if you're a current ACC student and then you decide that you want to transfer to St. Edward's the next semester, you'll be automatically granted that scholarship regardless of what your GPA is. And then we also have other affinity scholarships depending on like, if you graduated from like a HIP, IDEA, or Catholic high school, we do offer those affinity scholarships as well. We'll just need to have your high school transcript in order to verify that. But we always also encourage students to make sure that they submit the FAFSA or the TASFA to see what other forms of opportunities and need-based aid can be awarded to them. And of course, our financial aid counselors, you'll be able to find yours online on our St. Edward's website, but they're also more than welcome to and happy to help you with any financial aid questions that you have as you're going through the navigation process of applying to St. Ed's up until, you decide to enroll with us.
At Texas State, our tuition is about $12,200 a year. That's based on taking 10 classes, 5 in the fall and 5 in the spring. And it's adjustable based if you, 4 classes a semester is full time, but a lot of people take 5 now. You do qualify for a transfer scholarship if you have at least a 3.25 cumulative GPA. That is automatically awarded to you, and it goes up with your GPA. Also, there's the Bats to Cats program that you may have heard of. There's the financial award associated with that as well, as long as you meet the qualifications for transferring. With your GPA, then you can also receive $1,000 per year if you go to San Marcos, or $2,000 per year if you go to Round Rock. So there's a couple of options there. There are also competitive scholarships. These are the ones that you do have to apply for. Those are only started in the fall and then renewable for semesters after that if you meet the qualifications with your GPA. Those are due by March 1st. So if you plan to come like fall of 2027, then you want to make sure that you apply by February 15th. So you have time to get your decision and apply for those competitive scholarships. And I will put on a PSA hat for you really fast, because this is something that I wish someone had told me when I was in college. Apply for every scholarship that you can. Don't pay to apply to a scholarship, but apply to everything. Texas State is not picky. We'll take money from anywhere, and they will stack with everything. So apply for them. Like, you can reuse those essays. I didn't say that, but you can. I mean, maybe they're on different coasts. They're not going to compare. So apply for every scholarship that you can. Take the time and do it. As someone with student debt, that is my PSA to you today.
Southwestern is we recognize we are a small private university as well, so we have a much higher cost than some of my colleagues here at this table. But however, stay with me, because we have got a bunch of different ways to pay for that. We have about 1,500 students, and 99% of them receive some sort of merit or need-based financial aid. And so our transfer scholarships, you're going to get that automatically. Your application to Southwestern is your application for scholarships as well. So those range between $17,000 and $28,000 per year, and you can get those for up to 4 years of study at Southwestern. We also have an add-on $5,000 a year Phi Theta Kappa, or National Society of Collegiate Scholars scholarship as well. And then also, shameless plug, but if you do an official campus tour and visit with us by July 1st, you can get awarded an additional $2,000 a year. We offer tours at 9 and 3 every day in Georgetown, about 30 minutes from here. And so there are ways to get our costs that you'll see online, our sticker costs, down and almost split in half, even a little bit more than half. Also, if you ever do decide to come to Southwestern, I'm going to be your admission counselor. And if you're saying we get you accepted and you get your financial aid award back, and you're like, Jake, I want to go there, I just financially cannot make it work. At that point in time, that's when you call me and tell me that. And that way I can send you a financial aid appeal. And that is simply where you tell the financial aid office, I want to come to Southwestern, but I cannot financially afford to come to Southwestern. And we will try to move our needle a lot closer to where you want to be, so that way we can make your Southwestern dream a reality.
Yeah, at UT, we are committed to accessibility. So 56% of our students do receive some form of financial aid. So when you do submit your application, you are already being considered for all institutional scholarships that we do offer. So there's no additional forms, no additional scholarship forms either that you need to submit to be considered for those. You also get access to a scholarship interest form. With the scholarship interest form, if you do complete it and submit it back to us, you gain access to our LASSO system, where all of our needed merit-based scholarships are. So for our incoming students, they can use that to essentially apply for any scholarships that our schools and colleges are offering for all students. This is also the same database that our current students use as well too, to apply for scholarships throughout the full academic year while they're at UT. Aside from there, we also do encourage students to submit either the TASFA or FAFSA application. Depending on your AGI, your adjusted gross income, you also may qualify for the Texas Advancement Commitment, where we do cover your tuition while while attending UT. From there as well, any outside scholarships, Texas One Stop is our financial aid office. Very also not very picky with the scholarships that you are going to be awarded. So any outside scholarships that you do get, send it over to us. We'll add it to your financial aid package and essentially make it as accessible as possible for you to attend the 40 acres.
We've had a good day talking about money today, haven't we? That is some great scholarships, some great opportunities. I know this was a lot of information just in this little portion here. I want to say each of these universities has a great website. So if you forget something, you didn't write it down in your notes, please visit their websites. Their contact information can be found there as well. They also have these great booklets up here for later when you come down to talk with them. So don't feel like you needed to have memorized every single thing they said because it's a lot of information. We are going to now open the floor to questions. I'm sorry, before we get started, I do want to let our online audience know you are welcome to ask questions as well. Please drop your questions into the chat rather than unmuting because it gets kind of scary in here. All of a sudden, a voice just comes on. So if you'll put your questions in the chat, we will get to your questions. And for the in-person audience, we're going to bring microphones around, and please hold on to your question until we get a microphone to you.
I just want to say thank you, first of all, for all the great information you gave. And then also curious, I didn't notice any mention as far as like veterans or disabled veterans or any type of programs or benefits you guys might have available for that.
All right. So at Texas Tech University, we do have a program called our Military and Veterans Program. We call it MVP for short. So they are over our entire department with our military and veteran students. If you have any Hazelwood, GI Bill, post 9/11, yellow ribbon, things like that, that's what they will be over. They're also housed within our student business services. So any other accommodations or the forms that they have, once you enroll and get your hours actually enrolled in, that's when they will be able to apply all benefits. Okay. And then also you can stack those with any of those external scholarships and things like that too.
And same for the University of Texas at Dallas. So ours is called the Military and Veterans Center, and we accept all the same benefits. And if you want, you can come down at the end and I can give you the information for their center and their email and everything. They're really accessible. They're really good at getting back with veterans. So anything that you need, that center will be working with you, and they'll work with the admission office, work with me, and work with our financial aid office as well to get you everything that you need to get you enrolled.
Yeah, so at St. Edward's, we are a part of the Yellow Ribbon program. So, like, as part of your application, you're also able to indicate if you will be using like any of your military benefits. So that way we're just made aware, so that way it can help us get you connected with the right people. It's housed like our military and veterans affairs coordinator works within our student financial services office. So if you have any questions beforehand, even like before applying to St. Ed's, we always like to share his information so that way you can get all of the information that you need about what your benefits could look like. And then obviously you'll get a more clear picture if you are like accepted and then decide to move forward with that process. But we want to make sure that we have all of that information available to help with your decision making.
At Texas State, you'll work with the Office of Veterans Affairs, and they'll help you. They have some paperwork that they need so they can get with your vocational counselor within the VA, depending on which chapter you're using or Hazelwood Act or whatever. So they have different deadlines. So I can help you get connected with them. They're very responsive because they know you're usually on a timeline with the VA to get those benefits and get like your schedule and everything in. So we definitely have all of those services available. And if you need other accommodations, they can also help with that.
So at Southwestern, myself and our registrar, we are the VA liaisons for the campus. And so if you have VA benefits, Southwestern accepts all of them except for Hazelwood, just because we are private. But you would essentially submit a DD-214, a joint service transcript, and a certificate of eligibility. And that will then, the registrar, myself, and financial aid will come up with a game plan along with the VA to certify those fundings. So that way you can get an estimate of what we think is going to cover it. All VA benefits at Southwestern are stackable with all of the scholarships that you qualify for as well. So it'll still bring that price down, even though the VA will be paying for it.
Yeah, UT, we also have a veterans and military affiliated service that does service any active duty or retired service members that are located on our main campus. They do accept the GI Bill, Hazelwood Act, sorry, and any other benefits that you do have. They do conduct a lot of community outreach, financial aid resources, very much anything that you'd need to essentially be adjusted at our university and feel welcome there. Essentially, they're ready to help y'all.
This question's more for UT Austin. I wanted to know, do you have any GPA requirements for admission or like, yeah, along that line?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our for admissions purposes, we don't require any minimum GPA requirements. So whichever GPA that you'd have while attending your institutions, that it will essentially would be reviewed holistically through that admissions process.
Online question. As an incoming freshman at ACC, is it possible to join UT Austin and UT Dallas as a junior in fall 2027? How many credit hours would be required? And this is a business major.
Yes. So for the fall semester, essentially all of our schools and colleges are going to be admitting during the fall. I believe the only schools and colleges that would enroll during the spring semester would be our College of Liberal Arts, College of Education, and our College of Natural Science. But McCombs will admit during the fall semester.
Yes. All of our schools admit during fall or spring or summer. For business, it's going to be in the Division of School Management. And then, of course, you'll have to pick what major under that school. That's our business school that you're going to do. But yes, you absolutely can. As far as was the question partially about GPA in there as well? For GPA, it varies. The biggest thing is courses. So we definitely want to ensure that you've taken calculus at the very least and that you've taken something major related. You can go to our website and see our transfer plans for the major that you're wanting to do in under our business school, and that's for any major as well. We have transfer plans for all of them, so you can see the list of courses that we would ideally like you to take before you come. A lot of the STEM related ones or business related ones do have that calculus component that we like to see before you come to UTD. But that's the biggest thing. The GPA can vary depending on what's going on there, but I would definitely say having 15 credit hours or more will be the most helpful for you. Otherwise, we need to see your high school transcript.
So yeah, hi, here from the back. Yeah, thank you all for your time. So I'm an international, so I'm like asking all these stuff today. So you were talking about like free tuition. I guess it don't apply to internationals. So do you guys have like special opportunities for international students, or is it just like normal applying for scholarships, or do you have any offers to pay this 3-time tuition more than others?
For Texas Tech specifically, I would say the closest we have for international students would be how they can qualify for in-state residency with our tuition, and that would just be qualifying for any Texas Tech competitive scholarship of $1,000 or higher. That gets you in-state. So instead of paying $24,000 as an international student, you would pay about $11,000 for like you're a Texas student, if that makes sense. But it can be any scholarship from Texas Tech. So whether it's from a merit scholarship, whether it's from a specific academic college, that will qualify you for that.
For UT Dallas, it's pretty much the same. If we can get you a competitive tuition fee waiver based off of you getting at least $1,000 scholarship, that's what's going to really help push the needle for you. And then, of course, with residency, if we can get you established as a Texas resident, then you could also qualify for our Common Promise program, which is that full tuition coverage. And then you could apply to all the additional ones. But also, as Lindsay said from Texas State, still look for those outside scholarships because not all the outside scholarships have that you have to live in the state of Texas or you have to be a U.S. citizen. So apply to all of those as well. But if we can establish Texas residency, that could be the best thing to get you and push that needle over in the payment.
Yeah, so in terms of tuition for St. Ed's for international students, you'll still be considered for the same like transfer scholarships that like other like domestic students who are transferring into St. Edward's will be considered for. So all of those like merit opportunities that I shared, the affinities, those can be applied to you. A big thing would also be to determine in terms of when you're applying for financial aid, whether you're eligible to apply for like FAFSA, TASFA, or the CSS profile, since we also accept the CSS profile. So that's something that you would want to work with your admission counselor. We have an Office of International Admission, so they'll be able to better guide you than I would be able to share information right now. But those are just some resources that we like to recommend.
Texas State's pretty similar, where if you qualify for at least $1,000 in scholarship from Texas State, then you'll pay the in-state tuition. And then if you establish yourself as a permanent resident, then that can also be applied for future semesters that you are here. But as long as you keep getting a scholarship from us, then you keep paying that in-state tuition. The Office of they just changed, but the international office also has some opportunities, so you can reach out to them just because they have things specifically for international students. But there's also an international counselor who's much more versed on that than I am, sadly. But there's ways to get that tuition into the in-state tuition range.
Very similarly, Southwestern, you're still going to get all the merit scholarships and everything. Like I said, if you get established as a permanent resident, you can qualify for FAFSA, TASFA as well. That's when we maybe differ a little bit from the rest. As an international student, because you're not going to qualify for any financial aid as of right now from, the government. Always, you can let us know about you wanting to do a financial aid appeal. That may open the window up for more merit money, more grant money, anything like that Southwestern has to offer.
Yeah, UT, you'll still have access to that scholarship interest form to gain access to those merit and need-based scholarships. Texas Global also works with international students with their scholarship services. So they do have scholarships and other opportunities for you on their website. For Texas residency, to get that in-state tuition, Texas One Stop does have a section of their website dedicated to eligibility for Texas residency. So I'd recommend visiting there to see if you are eligible, just so that you can get that in-state tuition with us as well.
So I had a question more to do with the deadlines for applications. Is there a difference for international students, or would it just be the same thing?
There we go. Okay. It'll be the same for international and domestic applicants. For fall, if you're still thinking about fall 26, I don't think we talked about any of this, but Texas Tech University, we are rolling admissions. So what that means is we pretty much have our applications open like all year. We have priority deadlines set. So as an example, if you're looking at fall 27, the priority deadline will be December 1st of this year, and our applications would open this summer. So like our Apply Texas application opens July 1st, Common App opens August 1st. You have up until December 1st for priority. So that means priority on scholarships, housing, orientation dates, things like that.
I'm just going to read off my deadlines really quickly. And y'all, I'm reading it off because pregnancy brain is a real thing. So I have it in front of me. So for fall domestic students, the fall application deadline is July 1st. For spring, it's November 1st. For summer, it's May 1st. For international students, fall deadline is May 1st. For spring, it's October 1st. And then for summer, it's March 1st. The reason why it's earlier for our international students is because we need to get all of your international documentation in and get it processed, so it can take a little bit longer. So you want to ensure that we have time to process those things and get you guys in and all that good stuff prior, because we give domestic students a little bit more time because there's less to process there, and we can admit up until 10 days before classes start for them. But we want to make sure we don't miss anything with international students.
Yeah. So for like applying to St. Ed's, like for like the fall semester, are like we have early deadlines, priority deadlines, and then final deadlines. So like our early deadline is February 1, and then April 15th for our priority, and then our final deadline is July 1. But we also run on a rolling basis. So once you have your application file that's complete, it can take 1 to 2 weeks to receive an admission decision from us. If we have like everything we need, no hiccups in the road. But those are just some things things to like consider, especially with the international student process. Like if there's any like additional forms or things that would need to be completed, you wanted to make sure that you'd get connected with your international admission counselors because they'll be able to really be like, hey, make sure to check it. Like, you have to have this submitted on time. So really getting connected with them would be like the most important. But those deadlines are great to keep in mind. They're also available on our website if those kind of like exited your brain.
Very similar again. Yes, connect with your international counselor. But if you're transferring from an in-state institution like ACC, you can apply as a transfer student and then verify with the international office any paperwork that they need. So the earlier the better. But our application deadlines are for fall, you have until July 15th. For spring, you have until November 15th. And then summer's May 1st. So you want to make sure that you apply earlier than those so you can make sure that you're getting your paperwork as an international student in time so that you don't lose any benefits and have to miss a semester.
Southwestern does rolling admissions. Now, granted, in this, you're going to find deadlines we'd like you to apply by these deadlines. And those deadlines for the fall are April 1st is priority, and then the last deadline is July 1st. And then for the spring, it's going to be October 1st and then November 15th. However, for international students and domestic students, I mean, realistically speaking, if you're wanting to come to Southwestern and if as an international student, you can't get certain documents together or it's taking a while to certify them or whatever it may be, and we're kind of approaching that, like let's say you wanted to come and start in August and it's like August 1st, I would say, okay, still work on everything, but we may switch you over to start in January of 2027 instead of the fall just because we wouldn't have everything in on time. So as long as we're working together, we can always figure something out, but realistically, it's a rolling deadline.
Yeah, for UT, we're a direct to major institution, so you're applying directly to the major you're going to be studying for however much time you're going to be at our university. For summer and fall, September 1st, our application opens with March 1st being the deadline to apply. From there, you'd have until March 10th to submit all required items. And then for international students, you'll receive your decision by December 15th. And then for our regular domestic students, that'll be, did I say December? No, my bad. Yeah, not December. Sorry. For that fall, it's June 15th. Sorry. And then June 30th for our domestic students. For that spring semester, both for domestic and transfer students, it'll domestic and international students, it'll be the same deadline. So you'll have March 1st, that application would open up. By September 1st, you'd require to submit your application. September 8th, all required materials, and then by December 15th, that's the correct date. December 15th, you'll receive a decision from us.
I guess this is considering transfer credits. So, how much weight do y'all put on like old credits versus new credits? If someone went back to college, like let's say classes from 13 years ago versus classes now, and then what about former major versus current major? And how do y'all weight that during the application process?
All right. So I have a long answer, but I'll make it so short. You'll know. So for the main, I would say as far as your credits you were asking about, with Texas Tech, we take a maximum of 80 hours from 2-year colleges, or community colleges, and then we also take about 90 from 4-year institutions. As far as like if you've taken credits and it's from 20 years ago, as an example, as long as you send an official transcript apply to your program at Texas Tech, we'll be able to apply it to your degree plan. If it's something where maybe, and I've seen this happen, where maybe an institution has closed or maybe you don't have access to those hours, we just have to go through our National Student Clearinghouse. But if it's something where you aren't able to get those credits or something like that happens, it's rare, but it happens, you would be able to just get those taken.
My question is mainly for UT and UTD also, if applicable. I know you mentioned that McCombs doesn't accept spring applications, if I'm correct. So is there like a way maybe I can apply for the spring as like a general admission and then transfer to McCombs in the fall? Or is that like harder? Or is it possible to go to UTD for like spring and summer and then maybe transfer to UT? Or is there like a way for this to happen?
So you could potentially do that. I've always recommended students to always apply to the intended major that you're interested in, because if your application is a good reflection of that major and that clear interest for those majors as well too, might as well just apply to those. The only reason why McCombs doesn't offer spring admissions is just because since it is a relatively large college, they do get a lot of applicants, so they reserve that spring semester for internal transfer students. The internal transfer is essentially current students transferring from a current school or college to McCombs. So that's why they typically only accept students during that fall semester.
I would say for us, well, one, my advice to you is to definitely shoot for where you're wanting to be 100%. It's great to have a backup plan as well. So if I am your backup, perfectly fine. But I will say that if you get in to UTD and you join the Division of School Management, you might not want to leave. But if you do want to and you want to go through that transfer process, then that's when you would reach out to UT as well and talk to them about what that looks like. I can't advise you on what the transfer process looks like on their end, only what it looks like over here. But we admit for all semesters, so totally up to you and how you want to go about that. But both options are definitely available to you.
If it's working. There we go. Well, the transfer process is still going to be a competitive process. You're still going to be viewed through that holistic review. Like I said, it's very much dependent on your own preparation for that transfer process, and just the consistency as well too with any extracurriculars and things like that.
So, hey, I just have a doubt. So, I just migrated from Canada to here as a permanent resident. And back in Canada, I pursued like 5 semesters in computer science in and public college. And it's also vocational college. It's said from UTD. I will just tell you now. So, I just transferred here and took admission in ACC because my final goal is to graduate with an university like here presented. But like, on the other side, I do want to pursue the prerequisites like calculus, and I also took the government course and physics course. So I just applied to UTD for this spring, like this fall, because maybe it has the still has a deadline here. So I applied, but they didn't transfer anything right now. They told it's a zero transferable credits. Although in ACC they transferred like 70 credits from my older college. So I just had a question that I am in bit confusion that would I face with every university is this case like it's zero transferable credits, although I have good grades with previous college, and they told me like UTD told me like it's an vocational college, publicly funded college, so that's why although we can't evaluate you because you have zero transferable credits, so we can't get you in. But of course, in future times, if you get good grades in ACC, we can transfer you. But as a freshman, so I am looking for an university which can transfer my older college credits. And yeah, what would be your guidance, and what would be the faster route for graduating for me, because I don't want to restart like 4 years back. Yeah.
Did we speak on the phone? I believe we spoke on the phone about this, which, hi, good to see you in person. Just to speak on behalf of the public schools, is that when it comes to international credit and things like that, it's based off of accreditation that we're going to be able to accept the credits from an international school. So that is going to be based off of public schools in general for the state of Texas. Now, for the privates, I cannot speak to.
Hi, as a private school. So with St. Ed's, we can accept college level coursework. Technical courses or remedial courses, we won't be able to consider for transfer credit. So that's just something to keep in mind. But then also, like if you're attending like an international institution and we need like a foreign credential evaluation, that's also something that'll be considered to determine if we'll be able to accept those credits. It's also a matter of accreditation because, you know, we want to make sure that we are still accredited and all of that stuff. So like we are able to accept those courses if it is an accredited institution as well. So that's just something to like keep in mind when it comes to transfer credits. I mean, for St. Edward's, if you were kind of like interested in seeing what that might look like for you before you even decide to apply, we do offer unofficial transfer credit evaluations. So that is something like if you're just in the info gathering stage and you just want to see, hey, how would my credits from these previous institutions transfer over, or how can they? Your admission counselor is able to do like an unofficial evaluation until after you've been accepted, and then kind of it's not going to be, you know, the final say since it's just our educated guesses, but you'll get an official evaluation after you've been accepted to St. Ed's.
So would it be same for international institutions also, like for the counselor one? Because let's say if I just book an appointment with a counselor with the St. Edward University, so will they give me a guess like, yes, your college credits are transferable, not like which credits, but yes, it's transferable like that?
If we have like the information we need, like if we have like your transcripts on file and it shows that you're like that it comes from like an accredited institution, then like you'll be able to connect with your specific admission counselor about that. You know, I don't want to give information here and it be wrong too. So that's also, you know, we want to make sure that you get connected with your right person so that way you're the best guided with your decision. I don't know if other privates have.
No, the other private institution, everything she said is the same for us too.
Hello? Okay. The question was for student startups and businesses. So, is there any mentorship programs or any programs you guys have that might be able to help with that?
Okay, hello. So at Texas Tech, we have our Ross College of Business. You're asking about a business major, right? Okay. So we have our Scoville, like a mentorship program. Yes. Okay. So I actually will change my answer. So we have a program called Transfer Ambassadors at Texas Tech. Those are actual students that were previously transfer students that are current students at Texas Tech. That's a really good push too because they do get paid. So we do like I'll do summer panels where I have some students that'll come and like be on a virtual presentation. But they have mentorship with that with the transfer program. If you're looking for someone that's more of like staff or faculty, that transfer ambassadors program, that's not it either. Okay, keep going. What's the question?
For the School of Business. Okay.
Oh, oh, well, don't listen to me at all today, guys. Okay, yes. So yes, we do have that as well. So if you're looking at like the internship or like any entrepreneurship programs, we do have that. So that would also be something coordinated with the Career Center. If I'm answering correctly. If I'm not, just talk to me and you don't even might not even be interested. So
So the Naveen School of Management, which is our business school, once again, they have their own career center. So within that career center, you'll be able to actually get that mentorship for whatever major you're wanting to do. So if you wanting to go into entrepreneurship, you can go into that center and then they can guide you towards the mentorship for entrepreneurship. Is that what we're going towards? Yeah, absolutely.
You actually have a business that you actually need mentorship. Is there any resources available in the school for me to be connected to someone that will be my mentor? Help me learn how to manage my business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, within the Career Center, we do have that opportunity. We also are really big about connecting our students with alumni. So, our alumni come to campus very often, especially to meet with the Naveen School of Management students. We also put you guys in the faces and have different career fairs for you guys to put you in the spaces and places of those different organizations and businesses early on. So, yeah, there's different opportunities here at UTD to have that mentorship that you can be guided while you're on that pathway to what you're wanting to do.
So at St. Ed's, we have our Bill Monday School of Business. And just, I know I mentioned earlier that like we have like 2,500 undergraduate students, but I only bring that up because we have a student faculty ratio of 12:1. So within your class experiences, you're able to establish those really close connections with your faculty members in like the Bill Monday School. So if you're seeking mentorship opportunities, you're going to have like ways to get connected with them either through your classes. You'll also be assigned like a faculty advisor too. So if you just want to get connected with your specific faculty advisor based on your major, that they're also open to mentorship opportunities. We have a lot of like experiential education learning opportunities through like internships, volunteerism too. So trying to find mentorship because we are on the smaller side of schools, you get to build that naturally through your connections with your peers and your faculty. But then also we have the resources to get you connected with the people to help you, you know, go through like your business plan, helping make sure that things thrive and give you the advice that you need to continue to be successful in the field that you wish to pursue.
Okay. At Texas State, we have the McCoy College of Business, and some of those programs, an internship is required, and so they definitely have mentors for that because they want to help direct you to an internship that's going to be most beneficial to you in whatever your chosen major is. So outside of that, again, kind of like most of these other people have said, there are faculty mentors, depending on what program that you're in, and then career services and alumni that will also help if you need mentorship. One of the programs you can do an entrepreneur path. So they're actually helping you with that and doing a startup company. So there are a lot of pathways to help you, whether it's called mentorship or not. That's basically what they're doing.
Yes. So the minute you start classes at Southwestern, go to the Career Center. They're going to connect you with people who are alumni of Southwestern. And those people, they will try to find someone that is very closely aligned with whatever your business is. If it's, let's just, for an example, you're a car salesman or something like that, they're going to try to find another alumni that is a car salesman or owns a car dealership or something like that to pair you up with. Now, obviously, it's going to be up to that person to decide, do I want to mentor somebody? Do I want to meet with them? But 9 times out of 10, everyone is going to be willing to either meet with you via email or Zoom or on the phone or something like that. But yes, that's always an option for you as well.
Yeah, UT, we have the Harkey Institute. They do have an undergraduate mentor program for entrepreneurship and any other business ventures that you'd have. Aside from that, we do offer over 1,000 different clubs and organizations, a core of it being our business clubs and organizations as well too. So these student-led groups typically do connect other students with our alumni network through the Texas X's. So there's a lot of growth and opportunity through those ways as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Anik Anderson. Thank you all for your time. I wanted to make an introduction just in case my name crosses one of your desks. I wanted to ask about the common pitfalls that you notice with transfer students in their application process and in their first year being a student at your institution, because I would like for all of us to be set up for success, but to know that we'd also like to know, what things we should avoid after, transferring and during the application process. Thank you.
I'll use this as advice time. So transfer students, I would especially after their first semester, their first year, what I would say is something to encourage is to get involved, because I think the first semester is such a hard transition because you might be coming from like a smaller community college, you might be coming from a different state, coming from a different city, things like that. So it's a lot to balance. So I would say getting involved and finding like your community helps with that experience. And then I would also say going to those office hours that professors have, because at a university, you're going to be in classes that are like this big, and larger sometimes too. So you want to, like you mentioned, like, hey, my name might come across your desk. You might want to get to know that professor for that class. So if it's something with like a chemistry class, you might be struggling in it. Go to the tutoring services, because your tuition, that's thousands of dollars at these universities, pays for that. Go to the office hours because it's on your syllabus. So it's there for a reason. They want you to come talk to them. So I would just say using like all your resources for sure.
One of the biggest pitfalls is what the term that you use for it. Yeah. One of the biggest pitfalls that I see for transfer students is not utilizing the resources at their current institution before they transfer. So for you guys, using transfer services, you guys are utilizing it today, which is great. Just a little caveat and brag here for myself. I am an ACC grad. I graduated from ACC in 2020. Did not get to walk because we all know what happened in 2020. But I have my little picture plaque. It's on the website and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, the only reason why I was able to transfer and not have to make up anything extra was because I utilized the transfer services while I was here. Shout out to Patty Beck, who was also my academic advisor at the time and is now a transfer advisor, which is super awesome. I know she's out that way. But utilizing your resources here, you guys don't know how good you have it at ACC. Like, when I tell you, if I could have got my 4-year degree here, I would have, because the way that I was taken care of was just absolutely amazing. So utilizing and getting all the things you can done here, talking to your transfer advisors, ensuring that the course is aligned. They talk to us. They know what we offer here at our institution, and they also know how to get in contact with us quickly. Brandon is one of those main ones that will send somebody to me in a heartbeat. So know that utilizing resources here can really help you and guide you into the space of the next institution that you want to go into, and will give you the confidence to then utilize the resources at a bigger institution if you choose to do so. When you do transfer, just ensuring that you are paying attention to what is available to you. Using, like I said before, especially because you are a transfer student, using the transfer plans. I don't know if every other institution offers those plans on their website. I know majority of us do, where we have a list of courses for you to take for the major that you are interested in. Utilize that and follow that plan, and communicate with your admission counselors early on as well. But communication is the big thing. Communicate early. Remember that, because if you have poor planning, that does not mean that we now have to make up for that and move quickly for you. And that's life in general. So ensure that you guys are meeting deadlines, paying attention to things, reading. Reading is fundamental. That website that we all have was built for a reason, for you. Read it, please. Before you email, read the website. Before you call, read the website. But nonetheless, know that we are here to assist you. This is literally why we all are here. This is my why, is to pour into other students. So know that there are resources here for you, but you have to have the ability and the confidence to utilize them. And ACC truly does train you up for that. So start here and then bring it over to the next space.
Yeah, so kind of similarly to what my colleagues here have said, I would say a thing that I'd like to encourage students is to make sure that they do get in touch with their admission counselor early, like, because we're able to provide a lot of information and individualized attention to you in your specific case, so you feel like you have all of the information that you need to make a well-informed decision. Because you can go through that. I've seen times where I've gone through the admission process with a student, and we haven't even had like a conversation yet, and then when they're like, okay, let's get ready to enroll, and then they have a lot of questions that they save for the end, which, yes, it's good to ask your questions, but it could also be wholly beneficial for you to start asking those questions early on, so you don't feel overwhelmed with all of that information when deposit deadline is coming up to secure your seat in a class. So like making sure that you establish those connections with your admission counselor early is great. And we can get you connected with the resources or information that you need, even if we don't have the answers. That's what we're here for. We're here to guide you and make sure that you have the information to make a well-informed decision. So getting connected with us, in addition to using the resources that you have at your current institution. And then when you decide to enroll at whatever university or whatever college you decide to attend after, making sure that you establish those connections with people like at your new campus, making sure that you build a home in your place that you're going to graduate from. So that's something that I like to share with my students.
I was also an ACC transfer student, and I was the worst kind of ACC transfer student because I waited sometimes till the first day of classes to register for my classes. Don't do that. You cannot do that when you're going to a larger university. And I have worked with several students who have found that out the hard way. So don't be like me. Earlier is better. Procrastination is not your friend. But then, like everyone else was saying, yes, like utilize the resources available. Google, look on the website, everything. like try to research for yourself. That's the biggest pitfall that I notice from students are like, oh, well, one student said, oh, you have a website? I'm sorry, it's 2026. Like my sister's dog has a website. So yes, we do. Look at it. Use the search bar on the website. If you can't find it, reach out to your admissions counselors. They know where to find it. It's super easy for us to copy a link, pop it in an email, and send it back to you. It's not a problem for us. We know what you don't know because you don't know what you don't know yet. Right. And then if you're a first generation student, like always utilize those resources. That's another thing that I failed to do for myself. There are a lot of resources that I didn't tap into. And like she said, Brandon will call me with students in his office and be like, hey, you got a second? We got like 15 questions. That's totally fine. Because like I said, you don't know what you don't know yet. And that's what we're here for. You're helping us keep a job by asking us questions. So we're very appreciative of that. Thank you.
Everyone up here has talked about use your resources, and I'm not going to say anything differently. I will say though, by using your resources here, especially if you actually, like you all are here today, but if you actually utilize the resources you have here, coming to Southwestern, we only have 1,500 students. This is a class size that you will never have at Southwestern. It's about the size of this row of tables and maybe this row of students right there. So you really have no choice to get involved at Southwestern. It is harder to not be involved than it is to be involved. Like if you live on campus or off campus, whatever it may be, you really don't have a choice. Your professor is going to know your name. They are going to send you resources. If you fail a test or get sick or whatever it may be, and let's say you miss class for a couple of days, they're going to reach out to you and say, where have you been? Are you okay? Do we need to come do a check on you? Like they are truly caring about you and want the best for you. And so if you're used to having kind of resources here where people are looking out for you and wanting the best for you and, you know, wanting you to get from point A to point B, it's going to be no different here or anywhere that you go along this row of tables, because realistically, that's, like she said, why we're all here and we'd like to all stay here. So please utilize your resources, everybody.
Yeah, if y'all haven't heard it already, use your resources. Yeah, I mean, in some cases at UT, I mean, your class size may be this big, maybe add 5, 10 rows more, packed. Other cases it may just be 3 rows of like these first 3 rows. So in some cases you can have that one-on-one time with your professor. Sometimes you can't. You know, use your office hours. Fun fact: I'm not a Texas ex. I transferred from a community college in California to a CSU out there. So I've been in your shoes too. I went to my office hours. I used every last whatever I could because my tuition paid for it. I used it, especially at UT. We're such a big school. We have a lot of resources. We want y'all to be successful. We want y'all to have the career you want to have. And that all starts with just putting yourself out there. It's tough, but it's the only way you can actually be successful as a student.
Truth. Speaking of questions, we are getting close to the end of our time for the panel portion. So we're going to take one question here, one question there, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the panel portion. That does not mean that your questions will go unanswered, because our panelists have agreed to stay a little bit longer, so you can go up and talk with them as well. I just wanted we've got about 20 minutes left before we're turning off the cameras and turning off the mics and doing a little more of the one-on-one type of thing. Again, these have been awesome questions. Y'all have really, really questions that I haven't seen asked before in a panel, to be honest. I love it.
Yeah, I have to second that. You guys have done an incredible job of responding to this plethora of questions. You guys are being bombarded today, so all of you need to be commended for your answers on the fly. You know, here at ACC, everyone at the transfer team and all the academic advisors have told us all the exact same thing, semester after semester. Don't get so hung up on your GPA. It depends on what classes you take. You could have a stellar GPA, but some of the classes might not be as impressive to the admissions council, the admissions department on where you're transferring to. And they say the goal at ACC is to reach an analytical process through critical thinking, and your academic resume reflects that. So one of the things that everyone out of 10 people on the transfer team, 11 of them will say, well, you got to take calculus. Got to pass your calculus. You got to do good at calculus. So if you're in STEM, you got to pass calculus. If you're an art major, you got to pass calculus. If you're a dog groomer, you got to pass calculus. If you're in a cabinet making department, you got to pass calculus. So I'd like to hear straight from the horse's mouth, how is it that and I'm asking out of curiosity, because when I was younger, I used to think, well, philosophy is very important, or ethics, that depends, that helps with your critical thinking and your, analytical process. But it seems like calculus is the big thing. That's like what's in chic, that's the in vogue class. If you don't pay, the guy with the 2.5 that passed his calculus is doing better than the guy with 4.0 that passed everything else. So if you don't mind starting with Mr. Flores and working the other way, because we've been doing it. Why is it that so much, or help us understand, because everyone in this room, regardless of their major, has got to pass at least one calculus class.
I want to clarify before we move on to the panel that everyone in this room does not need to do calculus. So please don't get scared. You're not all doing calculus. Be sure you're talking with your advisors and you're taking the math that is appropriate for your major. I will go ahead and let the universities add on to that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too. I'm like, when I was doing my undergrad, I didn't take calculus, but it's very much in our holistic review. We really wanted to see how a student is preparing for that transfer process and that transfer to us, and that isn't due in part to that rigorous coursework that you're taking. Are you really challenging yourself? Are you taking that initiative to challenge yourself too? But also being consistent with your coursework too. Is it relevant to what major you're selecting? Is this something that is going to benefit you once you do transfer to our university? That's all within holistic review. It's also on our website too, where it breaks down what we're looking for and what we want our students to do in that preparation for transfer.
I think I'm going to be the only university up here that has potentially, besides St. Ed's, a different answer than everybody else. And that is because at Southwestern, we don't require all students to take calculus or certain classes or whatever it may be. And also, we don't care, especially in the admission department, because we're liberal arts, we don't care what you took. What you took here at ACC doesn't amount to hill of beans to us. What that means for you is if you decide you were a business major here at ACC, but you want to come over as an English major, some of those upper level courses may not count towards your degree at Southwestern when you get here. But what I'm trying to say is if you come in and you're an English major, we're not going to require you to take a math. We require you to fill a requisite called natural sciences. We require you to fill requirements called humanities. That can be a history course or an ethics course. We require you to take a power and justice course. We require you to do a fitness requirement. Don't worry, it can be bowling, pickleball, yoga, Pilates. Anyways, those kind of classes. So if you're, let's say, English or political science or psychology, you're not going to have to take a math course. But if you obviously go into business, you're going to take calculus, you're going to take statistics. If you go into biology, you're going to have to take those science courses. So it really depends on what you want to major in at Southwestern, will depend upon what classes you need to take here and when you get to us. So there's ways around it for us. But like I said, that may be just an us specific thing here today, maybe a St. Ed since they're liberal arts as well. But yeah.
At Texas State, being calculus ready is going to depend on your major. So science and engineering and business do have to be calculus ready. You don't necessarily have to be calculus ready before you transfer for those programs. The other programs, usually they don't have any specific math requirement. I know I took math for non-math majors, whatever the heck that was. I remember fractals. That's all I remember. But so like if you're doing English, health professions, something like that, those don't require calculus. The only two kind of schools that do are science and engineering and business. So transfer planning guides that are on our website, there is one for every major, undergraduate major that we offer. Those are your friend, because if there's a specific math that you need, it will be listed on there. Otherwise, it will say any math course. Yeah, so you don't have to be calculus ready, because Lord knows I would not be here right now if I had to be calculus ready for anything.
Yeah, so we don't have like specific course requirements that students would need to complete in order to be eligible to transfer to St. Ed's. So like, you don't have to complete calculus in order to come to St. Edward's, but like if you're a core complete through the state of Texas, we'll be able to honor that at St. Ed's as part of our general education, since every student is required to do like general education, and that focuses on different areas. So we do have quantitative reasoning, we have like ethics, we have religious and theological studies, but that's fun because there's in like different components. It's not just a specific religion, but like so part of our general education, it is in that like different topic areas. Those transfer advising guides that we also have on our website, they are specific to majors, and if a major has a concentration, also concentration specific. So the more you know about the degree plan that you want to go into, that can help with your course planning process for when you're taking courses here at ACC and trying to see how it'll be able to transfer over either to our general education, your major, or any elective requirements if you don't see that it fits into the other two categories. I will say the only exception would be like nursing. We do have like prerequisite requirements that students would be required to complete before they can be eligible to apply to our nursing program. But that is something different. And if you want to learn more, you can chat with me.
So yes, for our STEM programs, majority of them, they do want to see a student be calculus ready. Now, I will always say confirm before you freak out, because some of them don't have that. Like a lot of the stuff for the Naveen School of Management, our business school, they just want you to have a B average in your mathematics courses. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have calculus, but because we have those handy dandy transfer plans that allow you to actually prepare before you transfer, you can look at those for any major and see what math is required and go from there. And I would encourage you to get your list of schools that you're wanting to go to, look at all the courses that are required for each major for that school that you're wanting to attend. And then if the deal breaker is that you have to take calculus, then don't pick that school if you know you don't want to take it. Because as once again, an ACC grad, I did not touch calculus with a 10-foot pole. So, and I graduated and it was a successful transfer. So it is possible to go into a program without calculus, but for UTD, there are some that they want to see that math readiness for that in calculus, just because that's a lot of what you'll be taking depending on the major. If you're going to be an engineering major of any sort, buckle down on calculus now. If you don't want to do calculus, do not touch engineering. And that's okay. Physics as well. So just know your limits. Because the reason why we want to ensure that students take that for particular majors is because of how often you're going to have to take it in the rigorous course that it is. And it's so funny because when we see transfer students applying, the math is always missing because y'all really do try to like skate past it. Like, I'm not about to touch it at all. I don't want to take it. I don't want to take it. But just take it. If you know that that's the major you're wanting to be in, take it here. Do well here and then let it transfer on over. But it's not for every single major. I promise you. You can be in just about any other major outside of anything in the engineering, computer science school, and some of the natural sciences and mathematics without calculus. Once again, business school, be average in your math classes, and we're good to go.
Ditto. That's it. I'll also say, just to add a little pizzazz to my answer, I would say going to events. So I know ACC has an amazing website where they show when colleges and universities come to their campus for table visits, and you always walk by us and don't even look at us. So talk to us. We're up there, like, come talk to us. So if it's something too, or if university have transfer services, like with Texas Tech, we have transfer advising. So if you're like, hey, I'm looking at engineering, do I have to have calculus? I hate calculus. If you reach out to advising before, so they can do like a custom degree plan, like UTD was mentioning, I know Texas State said that as well. That's something where you can see beforehand, so that way you know if that calculus is required here. But definitely look at the major, look at the requirements, go to events, go to those websites. Use your resources.
See, I told them yesterday that y'all get sad when they walk by your tables and don't say hi. I said that. I want to add on to this is I know we talked, this went into a lot of calculus, but for those of y'all that attend the transfer guide presentation, we have a website on our here at ACC. So besides transfer, if you add on to this transfer guides, you can actually see the different transfer guides from different universities. It's not an all-inclusive document, but it's got a lot of the major universities that students are interested in listed there. If you can't find it on there, search the university website. If you can't find it there, we get you connected with the right people and they can meet with you one-on-one to help you feel more confident in the courses that you're taking here, or so that you can get into the wrong math class, because that's what we're talking about. But those transfer guides, you notice we all kind of called them different things. I think somebody saw transfer planning guide, transfer pathway. There's a lot of different names. So it's not always as simple as the word transfer guide, but that's why we just have our website that says transfer guides to make it easy for y'all to find and not worried about what the universities call them. So I just want to plug that because it is a great resource and it definitely helps you build that confidence in the courses that you're taking are appropriate for your major and for the university, because it's going to vary. There's two sides to that document, y'all. There's maybe information about prerequisites that are required, certain courses before you apply, or that will make you more competitive in the application process, and what kind of grade you might need for a specific course. Read everything, not just the side that says this course equals that course. I'm going to get here with the last question, and then we are going to wrap up the panel portion of this panel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I just wanted to ask, if we're in the process of transferring and we get in your school, can we still take courses at ACC? And if that's the case, what could be like the process, or how would that class that we're taking be with our for the school? Like, for example, I'm taking history of Texas. Like, it's a requirement, so I'm doing it at ACC. How would I be able to transfer? Do I have to do the whole thing, or what's the process? That would be kind of like my question.
I haven't been understanding questions properly today, so I'm sorry. So you're asking, if you take a class here at ACC, like, does it transfer specifically, or do you have to take all the history here at ACC?
1, 2, 3. So my question is, so a required class, right? A required class. If I'm taking it at ACC, but I start school at one of y'all's, so what would be the process if I'm still taking a class at ACC?
So, like, duly enrolled.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say the main thing I would say is with financial aid is where you'll see like the biggest hiccup with anything, because sometimes you're not able to use FAFSA or TAFSA at two institutions at the exact same time. As far as the coursework goes, if it's something where maybe you're looking at fall 26 starting at one of the universities, but you're taking a summer class, and then you're thinking about taking it fall at the same time, you just want to make sure that it transfers. And before you enroll in it, I would just confirm that it would transfer to the university that you're looking at. So that way you're not taking it here at ACC and then you're like, oh, let me go ahead and get this history of Texas class over here, and it doesn't transfer. So then you wasted your time and you wasted your money. So I would say the main thing is just making sure it actually would transfer. But some institutions you are able to be taking a class here and at a different university at the same time.
Yeah, same goes for us. Ideally, I don't encourage students to try and take courses at two different institutions at the exact same time in the same semester, because once again, financial aid a lot of things can happen there to where it doesn't work out. Now, let's say that you're enrolled for the fall here at UTD, but then for the summertime, you want to come back to ACC and take classes online or whatever. That's perfectly fine. You can just reverse transfer those courses back over. Just, of course, make sure that you talk to your academic advisor at UTD and like, hey, these are the courses I want to take at ACC, just to ensure that they all transfer over so that you don't have that issue. But perfectly fine. Or let's say that you've already been admitted for fall 2026 and you're here right now taking summer classes at ACC. As soon as that final transcript is done, you'll just send that over. You've already been admitted. You're good to go. We'll just transfer those last few courses over. It's perfectly fine to take courses at ACC in our institution. Just I wouldn't do them at the exact same time, not in the same semester. And also, that's a lot on you to try and keep up with two different institutions at one time. I would say stick to one per semester. And typically most students, and I also did the same thing, is doing ACC during the summer. It's just easier to get things done because more things are offered online there as well.
Yeah, so like let's say you were admitted to St. Ed's for fall 2026, decide to enroll, but you're taking classes at ACC right now in the summer. We would just need to have your updated final transcript that has your final summer grade, so that way it can be added to your transfer of credit evaluation, so we can see how it applies. In terms of like dual enrollment, you'll have to get connected with your academic advisor and complete like an off-campus course request process. So there is a formal process that you would have to go to see if you're able to take classes not at St. Ed's, and they'll be able to talk through that information with you to one, see if it's possible, two, what that would look like with your degree plan. So you would have to get connected with your academic advisor for your like specific scenario, so that way they can like best advise according to your degree plan needs.
Texas State's going to be similar to some of what's already been said. I don't encourage people to do two different schools in the same semester because you will have to pay out of pocket for one of them. Because usually your financial aid can't be split between two schools. So it's usually just not advisable to do that. But like UTD was saying, if you take a course like over the summer, our students do that quite often, and we just need an updated transcript so you can get credit for that. You do want to make sure that it is a class that will transfer and that you're not going over 72 transferable credits so that you don't lose credit for something that you've come back and done at ACC. But other than that, there's like no restrictions. It's just kind of ill-advised to do them both at the same time so that you don't have to pay out of pocket.
Ditto. Especially at Southwestern, if you are wanting to take classes at two places at one time, make sure you're paying out of pocket for ACC and not for Southwestern. You want all that financial aid to go for Southwestern. But realistically speaking, FAFSA usually will not let you take courses at two places at the same time. So and also for Southwestern, you can only transfer in 63 credits. Granted, you can transfer in more than that, and whatever comes over that 63 just won't count for towards your degree plan, but they'll still come over with you.
So at UT, students can do a concurrent enrollment. I wouldn't recommend to do it, but it's 100% up to you if you want to go down that path. You do have to get pre-approval from your dean's office from the college or school you're attending. Like everyone else has said, it just really messes with financial aid, and you really don't want that to happen because it's a very big headache to sort out. But if you did want to take summer classes, for example, I mean, UT does offer online summer courses, but if you wanted to take them at ACC, you could do that as well too. We'll just require that transcript to be submitted for any transfer credit. We also do have a transfer credit resource website where we have our tools there where you can see how transfer credit transfers over, and then we have our transfer guides there as well.
Whoa, thank you. Thank y'all very much for the great questions and the great answers. This was a really great Q&A portion of the panel. I loved it. Y'all came with great questions. I am sorry that we weren't able to get to everybody. But again, for those of you in person, you will have the opportunity if you still have some lingering questions. I do recommend get the cards, get the books, get the names, so that way you know who you can connect with in the future at these different universities. So let's give a round of applause to our panel once again. And a round of applause for y'all. This has been 2 days. Y'all have been great. We are all here. This is not goodbye. We really hope to see y'all at future events. We want to see you in our offices. We want to see you meeting with our specialists. So please continue to connect with us beyond today and beyond yesterday, right? Again, thank you so much for being here.